Washington vape shops struggling with the state's ban on flavored e-cigarette liquid. Across the state line, though, business is booming.
Power is nearly restored to all PG&E customers living in California, but the state's governor says that's not enough.
We have an air stagnation advisory in effect through Tuesday morning. We'll talk more about that and a look at your weekend weather coming up.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here tonight. I'm Whitney Ward. Breaking news for you tonight. The attorney representing Spokane police officer Nathan Nash has released a statement regarding current sexual assault allegations against that officer.
The statement reads in part, Officer Nash categorically denies the allegation of sexual assault or any criminal activity. The allegation is false, unquote. Nash is being investigated for sexually assaulting a woman who was the victim of a domestic dispute that he was investigating. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office is looking into the case. At least one North Idaho vapor shop is still partially benefiting from Washington's ban on flavored vape products.
So the store's owner says sales have more than doubled. Customers from as far away as Western Washington are flocking to their Post Falls location. But as Taylor Vito explains, the increased sales come with a catch.
Well, this vapor shop is in the former Post Falls outlet mall. It's not far from the state line. The owner here tells me that since the flavor ban in Washington went into effect, his business here has more than doubled. It's a double-edged sword, though, because his businesses in Washington have suffered.
The shelves are stocked, and the vapors and their money are flocking to Vaporland in Post Falls. It's just a mile and a half from the state line. And lately,
this location has seen substantial growth.
We say aye.
The reason? Washington's ban on flavored vaping products. So, no surprise, Vaporland says they now have customers who travel.
Well, look at the license plates. Every license plate out there is Washington.
Since Washington's flavor ban took effect last month, Vaporland says their sales here have more than doubled. They've gone from, get this, $800 a day to about $2,000. Just about all of their products are flavored, the store says. But the boon is coming with a price. Vape shops in Washington are now suffering.
It's putting 14 of my friends that have shops in Spokane out of business, so the reaction isn't good. Vaping's kind of a close-knit family.
Vaporland owner Michael Thorne says he had to close 2 stores of his in Western Washington recently. Sales there plummeted following the flavor ban. And no surprise, he has a bone to pick with Washington lawmakers.
If they truly cared about the health of people in Washington, they'd outlaw cigarettes, not vaping.
He argues that high nicotine products like Juul are of more concern and that flavoring has nothing to do with kids and teens wanting to take up vaping. While the ban has been beneficial for his one store, Thorne says it's not good for the industry.
All our flavoring's made from stuff that's been tested that's safe to vape. Now people are going to make their own vaping e-liquids from stuff they can get because flavors aren't available, and they're going to get sick.
Now, I should note that I called a couple of other vape shops in Kootenai County to ask about the Washington ban and its effects. 2 shops told me they've seen some new out-of-state customers looking for flavored products, but the difference hasn't been life-changing. In Post Falls, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.
At least 37 deaths are linked to vaping. New CDC reports show those deaths are spread between 24 states and the District of Columbia. 1,900 people, meantime, are being treated for vaping-related illnesses.
If you happen to notice a helicopter flying around the area last week, these photos are your answer. That's Spokane County's Rescue 3 helicopter hoisting a canine and its handler.
The Spokane County Sheriff's Office posted the photos today from that training exercise. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley shares incredible video from the view from the crew chief and the purpose of the training.
Last week, you may have turned your attention to the skies, thinking you might be seeing things. Turns out it wasn't a bird, it wasn't a plane. It was actually the Spokane County Sheriff's Office Canine Unit training with some new equipment.
This video shared by the Sheriff's Office today shows the crew chief's view of the training as he hangs outside the Rescue 3 helicopter. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office trains its canines regularly with the helicopters. Corporal Mark Gregory says this helps the dogs get used to being around them. But last week, the canines and their handlers trained with the newly acquired canine harnesses. The exercise included hoisting and lowering the canines with their handlers.
Now that we have this hoisting capability, we wanted them to also be able to understand what that was, be familiar with that. So when we do need to possibly deploy them in a rugged area or somewhere farther away, they will be able to still concentrate on doing what they need to do.
Gregory says the hoisting capability is relatively new on Rescue 3. It's meant to allow firefighters and medics quicker access to someone who may be injured or needing help in rugged terrain. After last week's training, now the K9 unit will be able to respond as well.
It's because we never know what's going to occur. This was one of those things that we are now able to deploy those dogs with their handlers and go to an area that maybe would have taken us an hour or two to get to.
It's pretty cool video.
It is. That is an interesting view from the crew chief. They're tethered in, they feel secure. I myself would not want to do that.
Overall, Gregory says the training was a success, and we can expect to see these flying dogs and their handlers in the future.
From my understanding, they seem to have a pretty good time. None of them seemed overly concerned about it.
Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Those K9 teams are pretty cool.
We need a dog thought bubble so we
Yes.
can see what they're thinking.
What are they
Right.
thinking?
Yeah,
I don't
that'd be
know.
interesting.
It was kind of a cool way to see all the fall colors that are changing
Yeah, it's
out there
beautiful
in
out
that
there.
footage also. We're starting November on a good note, I'd say. Already kind of a nice warm up from October.
Yeah, indeed. Meteorologist Tom Sherry standing by in the Weather Center tonight with the weekend forecast, Tom.
Yeah, we are talking about it, ladies and gentlemen. If you thought that October was cold, you are absolutely correct. It goes down in the records books now as the coldest October on record. Our previous coldest October was way back in 1905. Our average high temperature this October was 51 degrees. Compare that with a normal October average highs over the month are right around 58 degrees. We've got this air stagnation advisory in effect, just no storms moving through. All our air is being trapped right here in at the surface in the basin, the Spokane Basin. So your wood stoves are restricted for burning. It can only be an EPA certified wood stove or fireplace insert because none of the particulates are being mixed out of the Spokane Basin right now. It's like we've got a lid over us. We'll look for an overnight low of 26 degrees under clear skies. Again, no storm systems moving in, so more sunshine expected on Saturday and a daytime high of 48. For Sunday, I'm calling for a high of 50. We'll get a few clouds moving in, becoming partly cloudy. Still looking at an overnight low of 29. I'll show you when we're finally going to look for a little rain headed our way with your 10-day outlook. That's coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Tom. Well, crews in Ventura County, that is Southern California, they're battling yet another wildfire, forcing 8,000 people to evacuate their homes. This is the Maria fire, just one of many to erupt all across the state during a 3-week period of incredibly dangerous fire conditions. Firefighters have been battling those flames since yesterday for the Maria fire, hoping to protect the area's avocado and citrus orchards.
We're looking to get back into the daily routine. Get back into our own beds.
Really good to be home. Really good to be home.
In Northern California, where firefighters have made progress battling the massive fire in Sonoma County, evacuees have started returning home. Strong seasonal winds have been fueling the fires across the state, but forecasters expect calmer weather for the week ahead.
Meanwhile, California utility company PG&E handing out rebates to people who have been affected by those massive shutoffs, $250 per business, $100 per household. But the state's governor thinks that's not enough.
He wants PG&E to pay customers more money and to invest $5 billion to improve their system.
It's a new day of accountability, transparency, responsibility, and we're going to hold them to account in a way, candidly, we hadn't in decades.
Company leaders say they are speeding up safety inspections on 50,000 transmissions, and they plan to install more than 7,000 miles of stronger poles and covered lines.
Nearly all PG&E customers have their power back on right now. More than 1 million customers, though, were affected by those blackouts. The company's attempt to reduce the threat of wildfires sparked by equipment. The Skagit County Sheriff's Office is warning people not to organize private search parties for a hiker who went missing last month. Rachel Lackaduck is from Moses Lake. She went missing in the North Cascades more than 2 weeks ago.
The sheriff's office said in a Facebook post that people had plans this weekend to privately search for her, but the sheriff says don't do it. The sheriff says private searches interfere with search and rescue teams. It's also dangerous for them to go out looking. Crews are now calling the search and recovery effort a recovery effort. Lackaduck's mom is also sharing the same message as the sheriff's office. Well, a dog deemed dangerous by Kootenai County city leaders is getting a second chance. Ranger, the German short-haired pointer, has a new home now. The dog was taken away from its owner after attacking several cats and a person. Ranger had 2 weeks to be adopted or else the county was going to euthanize him. Well, tonight we are learning Ranger is now living with a new owner outside of Kootenai County. His new owner had to take out a $500,000 insurance policy on that dog, and they have to keep him on a leash at all times.
United Airlines is offering nonstop flights from Spokane to Houston. The new service will be available starting next June, and there will be one red-eye flight a day leaving Spokane right around midnight. That flight back from Houston will arrive in Spokane at 11 p.m.
Well, this just in, the Gonzaga men's basketball team just tipped off in their exhibition game against Lewis and Clark State, but one well-known player is not on the bench. Gonzaga freshman guard Brock Reve is taking an indefinite leave of absence from the team for personal reasons, according to a Gonzaga press release. The Kittitas native is the state of Washington's all-time leading scorer. In a statement, Mark Few says the program is 100% in support of Reve's decision.